Hey everybody, so I just want to do a quick video about aspect ratios in regard to retro gaming videos on YouTube. I've noticed a lot of the channels I really enjoy watching make amazing content, really captivating stories and things of that nature. And they rely heavily on recording the retro gaming content in the most pristine and cleanest fashion possible, but also trying to maintain the specifications of those games as they were originally formatted. And I don't know how long you guys have been watching my channel, but I started this, escapade back last year when I began doing the Sega CD from A to Z content. I had the specific decision to do all those videos in 4:3 aspect ratio. So I'll kind of go into a little bit of detail about that by doing a screencast and that kind of thing. But with this, I'm going to be doing a lot of video of different screens and how some of your videos show up on different screens and what I think that a lot of you guys should be doing to give a better and cleaner product, and also to give an experience that matches the original experience that we had with the games themselves. So I guess we'll jump into checking out some video now. So I wanted to take a look and see how some of our videos look on different types of monitors. So if we look, here's a video by GameSack. I just randomly chose this out of the lineup about the Castlevania. And so this is the video on a 16:9 computer monitor. So as we can see here, it goes from 16:9 content to 4:3 content, and we don't skip a beat. I mean, it just looks fine on an HD monitor. We'll skip over here to Sega Lord X. Now his videos are almost all exclusively in 4:3 because it's almost all exclusive gameplay. But as you see, I mean, again, this looks absolutely beautiful, 1080p 60. Beautiful capturing. The frame rate is just absolutely buttery smooth on his captures. When we go to Angry Video Game Nerd, we can see again 4:3 content, and it looks nice again. And then he goes back and forth between him in 16:9 and then back to the game footage in 4:3. So that's fine. We have Modern Vintage Gamer, and again, he does a lot of, his videos are almost half and half when he's talking about gameplay, because a lot of the stuff is, just things in his office, the hardware in his office, doing shots off of PVMs and things like that, and then it cuts to the game footage, which is a direct capture usually, or like this is right off the monitor, but then it goes to a direct capture of the game footage. And so a lot of his stuff is back and forth. And then we have Classic Gaming Quarterly with the Streets of Rage trilogy. And again, most of this video is in 4:3 with pillar box. Every now and then he'll come on screen or he'll show some assets or other things like that, which will be in 16:9 format, but then goes back to gameplay footage, which is again in 4:3 raster. And so I want to show a couple of videos that I've done. So here's a video I did on Afterburner on Sega CD, and as you can see, I did it in 4:3, and you can immediately notice just by looking at the YouTube window there, it cuts it in 4:3 right on the YouTube screen. And again, you can see it doesn't miss a beat. If you put it in full screen, all it does is it fills the vertical or the horizontal raster, whichever comes first, which is really cool on YouTube's part because they can go back and forth between whichever format works out better for the video that you compose. And now let's take a look at how things look on a 4:3 CRT monitor. I have a CRT monitor as my secondary monitor in the office because I'll either be doing emulation and I just want a CRT monitor for that, or the way I've been doing things is just nice to have a CRT monitor that's a close approximation of 4:3. So I have Sega Lord X, and whenever I put this in full screen mode, now look at it. We got this little baby box in the middle of a sea of blackness because the video is exported as 16:9 1080p. And so since it's exported in 16:9 1080p, it's pillar box, and so those black bars are forced in the video. There's no way to get away from that. Say if we look at Classic Gaming Quarterly's video, There, you can already see in the monitor pane there's 4 black bars, and when we put it in full screen, again, it's a little baby monitor filled in a sea of blackness. You can't get away from it. We'll switch to Modern Vintage Gamer. It's in 16:9, so that's fine that it's filling up the full raster when it's in 16:9 format. But then when it switches to 4:3, and look at that, it's you can already see the 4 black bars. We put it in full screen mode, and again you can see a sea of blackness, baby screen in a sea of blackness. There's no escaping it. Then we look at my video, and we can tell that my video is already filling more vertical space than horizontal space because there's no black bars to compete with. And then when we put it into full screen, look at that, it almost fills up the entire screen. It almost fills up the entire screen. Now, of course, this monitor isn't 4:3, so there will be some letterboxing, but you get the point. Then we go back to the 16:9 screen with my Batman Returns review, and of course I forgot to turn the autofocus off for this portion. But you can see right there, once it cuts back to my face, there's no black bars even on the 16:9 monitor. So again, YouTube perfectly curates the screen position based on the type of content you give it. So I think that's really cool that they allow that. Now let's look at a HD TV in the living room. So going back to Sega Lord X, we can see his video. It looks absolutely beautifully stunning on a 55-inch HD TV monitor in the living room. And so that looks great. There's no mincing words on that. And then we go to my video. My video looks also great. It's filling the vertical raster top to bottom. It gives the black bars because it's on an HD monitor, but it looks great that way though. Now let's talk about the iPad. So here is Chris's footage from Classic Gaming Quarterly on the iPad in vertical format. So if I have my iPad in vertical, it's going to present it in a 16:9 with the black bars on both sides. If we go to my video, it's doing the exact same thing because it presents it in a 16:9 format with black bars on the side. So that's to be expected with the iPad. But when we flip it horizontally, look at GameSack's video, it's 4 black bars on either side, so it gives us a window box view. So we have, again, baby monitor in the sea of blackness. But we go to my video and look at my video. It perfectly fills up the entire screen. There's no black bars anywhere when you're watching 4:3 content, horizontal mode on an iPad. I mean, just look at that. It's just perfectly composed to take advantage of the full screen space with no black bars. And now let's look at phone in vertical mode. So a phone in vertical mode, of course, is going to have the black bars on the side with the 16:9 content. 4:3 monitor with black bars on the side. I got a tape measure out, and we can see that's hitting at about 1.5 inches vertical for this video content being displayed in vertical mode. And then if we put it in horizontal mode, I got the tape measure out as well, and we're looking at almost 3 inches, maybe right at 3 inches. So now we come to my video and look at how my content is laid out. Because it's in 4:3, there are no black bars, and so it's able to fill up more vertical space in vertical mode. Look at that. We're talking 2 full inches of video content. I got an extra ½ inch out of my video content just by making it in 4:3. And then when we put it in horizontal mode, it is still the same 3 inch. So again, I'm getting a full ½ inch of extra screen space with my video being in 4:3 format. And this was the major decision maker because I was testing all kinds of screens, all kinds of things when I was coming up with this. And this right here was the decision maker. Is a lot of times when I'm watching YouTube on my phone, I just have it in vertical mode because I don't want to flip it around. And that's fine, that's whatever. So when we have a 16:9 video that we force black bars on, you're getting only a fraction of the viewing space that you could be having. I mean, look at that. That versus that. That versus that. I mean, again, you're getting a full ½ inch of extra screen space. With a phone, a ½ inch is huge. The entire thing of forcing 4:3 content in a 16:9 raster, to me, is really akin to those old DVDs that came out in 97 and 98, where it was non-anamorphic widescreen. So it was the entire DVD picture is a 4:3 picture with matted black bars at the top and bottom. And so when you watch those DVDs on your HD display, you get this wonderful window box view like this Mortal Kombat DVD, where basically all the action is in the center of the screen, and there's black bars on the sides and top and bottom because the bars on the top and bottom are forced, and the bars on the side are just there to accommodate that because the video is already buttoned up against the vertical raster of the monitor. Okay, so after watching all those comparisons, how to get that look is actually pretty simple. So I use Premiere Pro, but I'm pretty sure you can get the same settings with Final Cut or with Avid Media Composer or Sony Vegas. Anyway, so go down and go to New, go to Sequence. And at this point, I already have a template set up, but we'll go into Settings. I have mine set up at 60p, so 60 progressive frames, and I have it set up as 1440 by 1080 square pixels. No fields, progressive scan, 60 frames per second. Audio is, of course, 48 kilohertz, and so on and so forth. And then video previews, I have iframe only MPEG. So I'll just name this template, whatever. Hit OK. So now we have our 1080p. So now a lot of the content that actually all the content that I do for these videos are still recorded in 16:9 format with 4 spot bars, pillar box. I'll just put this in preview monitor here. So yeah, we'll find a piece, put it in here, put it out here, drop down. And so yeah, here we go. So we have 4:3, 1080p 4:3. Go 100, see, 1080p 4:3, and it's 1080p 60 as well. So when you hit play, watch it go, look at that terrible trash gameplay that I made. Now that works out really good for video game footage when you're strictly just doing video game footage because it's natively in 4:3 format. But what about whenever we're you know, doing cross formats between 16:9 face and 1080p video? Well, what I do is for those occasions, I strictly frame up my video to be in a 4:3 raster on the 1080p screen. So like with this video from Modern Vintage Gamer, where he was talking about the hidden games on the Xbox. See, look at that. That is already, to me, in a nice 4:3. So we could just put that in, and then drop this down. And see, look at that. We might need to scoot things around a little bit to even it up, you know. So of course it wasn't composed for a 4:3 shot. So like with this, you know, we could probably add some keyframes. Actually, I'll do that right now. So I'll add a position keyframe here and scroll it over to the end of the clip. Add position keyframe here, and then drag it over a bit so the game can be in focus. Go back to this and drag that over a tad bit. So there you go, 4:3 aspect. And you know, same thing with that. We can you know, whenever that comes in, again, we can scoot this over. Again, he didn't compose this on 4:3. That's why I'm keyframing it. So if you originally compose your shot in 4:3, with that in mind, look at that. That's just beautifully composed for 4:3. We don't even need all this crap on the other side. It's not needed. And especially whenever, I mean, 4:3 looks great. 4:3 looks fantastic. I mean, the keyframe's still there. So if I revert my keyframes, and there we go. 4:3, that looks fantastic. We could have been a little bit more center, and then it goes to the game footage, and then back to the game footage. It's perfectly centered 4:3. So again, like whenever we're putting these in a 1080p sequence, we're basically just getting a lot of this dead space, and it's just not needed. It's not necessary. We can do the same with GameSack video, like this. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this. We're gonna go ahead and drop this down. Look at that. perfectly composed. He could not have composed a shot any better for a 4x3 raster. And see, that looks fine, but then once we get to the gameplay, then we're locked in this, 16:9 pillar box. This just looks so much better to just have it in this screen like this. See? Okay, and then we can look at Classic Gaming Quarterly, see how his look. Now, his video is in 720p, so I'm going to have to add a zoom to just get it up to where we need to. So we'll put, it's 150. 150. See, that's really not a bad shot. It's pretty much evenly made for a 4x3 raster. Look at the rest of this, and it lends to the overall composition. But again, look, we have 4x3. We can even scoot that over just a tad to make sure that, where are my fat controls? Make sure we have all 3 Streets of Rage games prominently pictured. But again, this just comes up to composition. We're all composing these shots in a 16:9 format, so of course we're going to spread our shots out. But if we consciously make the decision, all my gameplay is in 4x3, so I'm going to make my video in 4x3 as well. I'll reset this. Then whenever we're on camera, the shots look better too. And so that's why, like with mine, I purposely forced the logo down to 4x3 ratio. I changed my intro logos to a 4x3 ratio because this is, how the Sega CD logo is. And then I composed my little blurb at the end in 4x3 so I could just drop this bad boy down in. But yeah, this is the raw video that I just downloaded from YouTube, 1080p 60 in 4x3. And then after you have your sequence laid down and set up, then you can just simply go up to File, Export, Media, and then I choose H.264. And I have a template set up for this, but essentially your template will be 1440 by 1080, 60 frame, square pixel, progressive scan. And then you can choose whatever bitrate setting you want. I have mine set on 15 because I believe in sending a really high bitrate video to YouTube and let them figure it out. And then my audio is, of course, 48 and 320. But yeah, once that's set up, basically, see, this is the video that will be exported. And so it's completely 4x3 1080p. Just wanted to make this, though, in case the community was not aware that that was an option. And I even have been messing around with 2.4:1 aspect ratios, and those show up beautifully on YouTube in a widescreen format, especially when you put it in theater mode. Look at that. Look at that. It just looks beautiful. But notice how 16:9, now the 16:9 is pillar box in theater mode. So even if you compose a shot in 16:9, it's going to be pillar box in theater mode, which, I don't know, it's whatever, but I just thought it was interesting that YouTube even recognizes 2.4:1 aspect ratio and allows you to perfectly format that. So I've been doing a lot of my unboxings in that format, because it just, to me, it just looks better. Yeah, being as a professional editor, there's, a lot of things that, I've come in contact with under the hood and that kind of thing. I just wasn't sure if the community is aware of these types of features that are available. YouTube has been allowing us to do many different aspect ratios natively for quite a while now, and it seems like nobody at all is taking advantage of that. These aspect ratios are there for us to use, so we may as well just use them, And in my opinion, I'm just an idiot on YouTube with 2,000 subscribers, so I'm nobody. But in my opinion, it just looks better. It's just a cleaner look for 4x3 content to be made in a 4x3 raster. And it's still 1080p 60. Nothing's changing that. It's just there's no black bars on the side. So all that being said, that this video isn't meant to disparage or discourage anybody from what they're doing. I more or less just wanted to bring these to everybody's attention, that for those of you who weren't aware, that this could at least give you more creativity to approach different projects, of things like, I don't have to do this in 16:9 format. I don't have to do this in widescreen. So we can go ahead and step outside of this predefined box that we've been put in, that 16:9 is king, and we can do things that are, outside of that and more creative. Okay, so hopefully I didn't bore you too much with all those examples I showed. I just really wanted to drive the point home on all the different types of screens and all the different things that you're watching, how a 16:9 forced image of a 4:3 image basically comes out, and how there's a much better way, there's a much better presentation to deliver this content. And I couldn't care less if I change your mind, but hopefully I've at least given you some food for thought to at least weigh the options and maybe consider trying in a different format. But I guess I don't have much else to say, so yeah, thanks for watching and peace out.